मीट की तकरीब में शिरकत कर रहे हैं। ये मनासिर भी आप इस वक्त अपनी टेलीविजन स्क्रीन पर देख सकते हैं। वज़ीर आज़म पाकिस्तान इमरान खान गैर मुल्की सहाफ़ियों के सवालात के जवाब दे रहे हैं। नाश्ते पर मदू किया गया पाकिस्तान के सिफारत खाने की जानिब से, हुकूमत पाकिस्तान की जानिब से, ताकि वज़ीर आज़म इमरान खान और गैर मुल्की सहाफ़ियों के दरमियान ये इंटरेक्शन हो सके। इस इंटरेक्शन के मनाज़िर आप डेवोस स्विट्ज़रलैंड से बराह रास्त देख रहे हैं कि किस तरह वज़ीर आज़म पाकिस्तान इमरान खान गैर मुल्की सहाफ़ियों के सवालों के जवाब दे रहे हैं। वज़ीर आज़म इमरान खान की जानिब से इस दौरे के दौरान मसला कश्मीर को भी उजागर किया गया।
Davos to tackle globally important initiatives that will make this world a better place to live in. Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister, to tackle globally important initiatives that will make this world a better place to live in. Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister, and thank you all for being involved with us in this momentous time. Before I hand over to Zaya, I would like to tell everyone that 2020 is a very special year for Martindale. We are into our 25th year of legacy, and if you allow me, Honorable Prime Minister, I would like to present you a small memento at this auspicious event. Thank you.
I think as introductions go, this should be very easy. I think the Prime Minister, who we are delighted to have over here on behalf of the Pathfinder Group in Martindale, is known to the entire world. Starting his career.
पाकिस्तान ब्रेकफास्ट मीट की तकरीब डेवोस स्विट्ज़रलैंड में इस वक्त जारी है। वज़ीर आज़म पाकिस्तान इमरान खान गैर मुल्की सहाफ़ियों के सवालों के जवाब दे रहे हैं। इस वक्त पाकिस्तान की जो मकामी स्विस बिजनेस कम्युनिटी है वो भी वज़ीर आज़म इमरान खान से मुलाकात कर रही है। उन्होंने वज़ीर आज़म इमरान खान से मुलाकात पर खुशी का इजहार किया। वज़ीर आज़म इमरान खान इस वक्त वर्ल्ड इकनॉमिक फोरम में शिरकत के लिए डेवोस स्विट्ज़रलैंड में मौजूद है। मुत्तादिद सरबराह मुमलिकत, मुत्तादिद मल्टीनेशनल कंपनीज के सदूर से भी वज़ीर आज़म इमरान खान की मुलाकात हुई है। और इस वक्त वज़ीर आज़म इमरान खान यूरोप में जो पाकिस्तानी कम्युनिटी है उसके अलावा गैर मुल्की सहाफ़ियों से भी मुलाकात कर रहे हैं।
Coming up in Karachi, and then finally, as politician, spent a lot of time in the opposition, and finally has now become Prime Minister of our country. A year or 2 years ago, when we were sitting over here, I said Pakistan is at a crossroads. I don't think that's true anymore. I think the path has been taken by this government. The path has been set by the Prime Minister. It is a tough path. It is replete with a lot of issues, but it is the right path for Pakistan because it puts Pakistan for long-term growth, economic prosperity, and political stability, and putting a security situation. I think we all, when an outsider looks at Pakistan, is often confused, especially our friends. It's a land of immense potential, a young population, many natural resources, copper, gold, natural gas, a beautiful country. I know the Prime Minister talks about the mountains a lot because that's his favorite thing, but down south there are wonderful beaches. You go past some of the beaches in Karachi, and there's beautiful marine blue water, pink sands of the sort that people spend thousands of dollars and go to European resorts and resorts in the Caribbean, and we have it all. And what has been lacking? One single thing: governance. And that's what the Prime Minister has brought, and we are very proud of you, and we wish you the best. And with that, I'll let you take over. Thank you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Ikram Sehgal. He is instrumental in getting me here. Otherwise, the sum of $450,000 for 2 nights was, I would not have burdened my government for this huge amount for 2 nights. So Ikram Sehgal got together, and with Imran Chaudhry, my other friend, and so they sponsored it. So it's the cheapest any Pakistani Prime Minister has ever come to Davos. But even before this, Ikram always invited me because he wanted Pakistan's point of view to come across to the international audience, and especially Davos, where you have world leaders in business and economy and political leaders. So I have been here before. And I always found that this is, Davos is such a gathering of people. Normally you would sort of meet such people over a period of 6 months, a year, you know, traveling around. But here in one place, you tend to meet people, you know, who you can learn from, who you can interact with. So, Ikram, thank you very much for inviting me here and being a partial sponsor of my visit. Let me just, first, just a brief thing about myself, so, you know, you understand how what my motivation is and how I function. You know, there were far more talented cricketers than me when I started my cricketing career. And when I started, a lot of people were skeptical. I was dropped after my first test match I played, and I was butt of all the jokes of the cricket team. And then it took me 3 years to get back into the team. And then, you know, like anyone who competes at that international level, you learn probably the most valuable lesson which any human being can learn in order to succeed in life. And that is the ability to face the bad times. What decides how much a human being will fulfill his potential in life depends upon his ability to face the bad times. Because problem is very talented, educated people with much greater potential than me. I found that the reason why they could not achieve their potential in life because they could not face the bad times. People gave up. An easy, comfortable life is a disaster for human potential. People who have inherited wealth, I have very rarely found them achieving their potential in life. Life is too easy. When I played cricket, I went to the most privileged school in Pakistan with the best facilities. We had coaches, the best cricket ground, probably no school would have a cricket ground like that. But the boys from my school could not compete with those boys who played in the streets, who played under the lights. Our boys could not compete with them because they did not have the hunger. They did not have the drive. And it's that drive that actually propels people to achieve their potential. I built this university in Pakistan, the first private sector university in a rural area. And I built it with one intention, that the underprivileged people who had no chance of having higher education, they must be given an opportunity. The university I built was affiliated with Bradford University in England because I was the chancellor of Bradford University. So we affiliated it with that university. The boys who studied, and girls who are studying in Namal University come from poor backgrounds. 75% from Urdu, 80% Urdu medium schools, studying an English university degree. And first year they struggled. We used to have to teach them English, to give them foundation course. They struggled the first year. Second year they sort of stabilized. And in Bradford University, the average first divisions are about 12%, 13% maximum. In Nimmal University, the same Bradford University degrees, examined by Bradford University professors, they got between 55 to 60% first divisions. Poor background people who didn't even have strong basics, because they had greater motivation, they had greater hunger. So in sport, I learned how to compete. And the most, again, the valuable lesson, face the bad times. So I give you an example. Once we got thrashed by India. We went to India to play a series. We got thrashed. So now the team is on the way back to Pakistan. And what is the discussion going on in the dressing room? How to get to Pakistan in the middle of the night so that there would be no one at the airport. When we arrived at the airport at 4 a.m. in the morning, the custom people made us stand there for 2 hours, confiscated everything, and they made sure that it was light enough so that when we got out, the taxi drivers sort of gave us hell. And yet at the same airport, I arrived 7 years later, having beaten India. And we never even made it to the customs. There were 150,000 people at the airport to receive us. Oh. So you see, when you have these ups and downs in life, the most valuable lesson, you never lose your head when you go up, and you know the dynamics of coping with the bad times. Mm-hmm. So the difference in my philosophy. I was 9 years old when I wanted to be a test cricketer. I watched my first cousin. My mother took me to this match in Lahore. He scored a century against England. And I looked at him and I said, I want to be a test cricketer. And it never occurred to me that I would ever become a test cricketer. I always thought it was a matter of time. I never realized the struggle I had to go through. Similarly, when my mother died of cancer, I didn't realize there's not a cancer hospital in Pakistan. And then I realized that, I could take my mother out for cancer treatment. What happened to the 95% of the people in the country? So that's when I decided I would build a cancer hospital. I have to confess I was never much of a charity type of a guy. I was not into really giving people, because basically the philosophy of professional sport is that there are no prizes for coming second. You do not have compassion for the losers. So it was actually watching that pain that I decided, watching my mother suffer, I decided I wanted to build this hospital. And I'd never realized how difficult it would be. 4 years of running around, I wasn't getting anywhere. And then Mr. Razak Daud is sitting here. He was on the board of governors, and he knows the meeting. We called 20 doctors of Lahore, top doctors, and said, look, how do we go about building this cancer hospital? And this is after 4 years of running around like a headless chicken. And out of 20, 19 said you can't build a cancer hospital in Pakistan. And one said that you might be able to build it, you cannot give free treatment to poor cancer patients because it's very expensive treatment. So, my dream was to build the hospital. And so what I went through, the things I had to do, was the greatest learning experience in my life. And eventually when we built the hospital, just to give you an idea now, the hospital was built in 700 million rupees. The annual loss the hospital suffers for treating 75% of the cancer patients free, which was my dream. It wasn't just the dream of building a hospital. It was that poor people should get free treatment. The annual loss is 10 billion rupees. Hospital bill for 700 million, annual loss is 10 billion. So, imagine, had I had someone told me that, look, this is what you, after building it, you will have to spend 10 billion collecting every year. And then I decided to go to politics. Everyone laughed at me. There's no precedence of, in a two-party system, a third party coming through. There's no precedent. Look at England. Look at the US. You can't break through because they are entrenched. They have systems, a third party, an outsider. So for 15 years, people laughed at me. 15 years, I was butt of all the jokes in politics. Here was me sincerely going around, look, we want good people to come. Let's all good people get together. And I didn't realize that the good people were the most cowardly people. They were scared of coming into politics. So anyway, the thing is, the Almighty has given all of us tremendous potential. We are His greatest creation, Ashraful Makhluqat. Problem is, we don't know this. And we let ourselves down. Because that potential, we only achieve that potential if we know how to struggle. We only achieve that potential if we have these big dreams. And whatever the human mind can picture can happen. This is how much potential all of us have. Problem we face is that we give up on the way. When the bad time comes, we put up our hands and say, we have a plan B. The human potential, the bigger the dream, the bigger the struggle, but you achieve it when you do not have a plan B. There is no going back. You have to burn your boats. Wherever you go after a big ambition, you should never, never, never think of compromising on that dream. So now I come to my dream of Pakistan. You see, I believe, and I always believe, because I grew up in 60s, when you cannot imagine the optimism we grew up with about Pakistan. It was one of the fastest growing countries. Our head of state, Ayub Khan, went to the United States. The president of the US came to receive him at the airport. He had a ticker tape reception, open car, people throwing, how they greet those people in the US. He goes to England, he's treated like royalty. Pakistan, there was hope. People believed the country had potential. It was the fastest growing country in the 60s in Asia. We were a model for development. South Korea came to Pakistan, Malaysia. They looked upon us. In HSN, I studied with Malaysian princes. Our university degrees were recognized everywhere. So I grew up with this thing. We had this hope. So we let ourselves down. And we let ourselves down because, unfortunately, we came up with, first of all, we could not, our democracy couldn't get grounded in Pakistan. When the democracy faltered, we had the army. When the army came in, they wanted their own puppets, who were not leaders. And so we went into this musical chairs. But I always believed that the moment Pakistan had good governance, this country would rise. And the moment Pakistan went back to its original vision, there was a reason Pakistan was made. We keep forgetting why was it made. The reason given by the founding fathers, the ideological father of Pakistan, the great Iqbal, and what our great leader, Jinnah Quaid-e-Azam, a brilliant mind, the most outstanding barrister in British India, highest paid barrister, brilliance, man of complete integrity. They all, if you look at the vision of the founding fathers, they wanted Pakistan to be a humane, just society, a welfare state. And we deviated so far from the vision. And nations without a vision die. Why should people want to be part of a nation if there's no vision? So I always believe that the moment our vision, the reason why this country was made, if we could restore that vision, this country has more potential than any other country. Reason why this country has so much potential because the best resource are the people. We have dynamic people. I mean, I give you an example. When I used to be playing cricket, India is 7 times the size of Pakistan. We regularly thrashed them. Pakistan had squash players with hard. There were more squash courts in Oxford University. Pakistan had 2 squash champions for 10 years each. Our hockey hardly financed to anything. We had always the talent. People of Pakistan not just had the talent, we had the resources. I mean, since I've been in power, I'm amazed what the resources the country has. Just out of the 14 copper and gold fields we have in Reko, just 2 of them. And guess who told me this foreign company which we are in litigation against, this chairman, I was speaking to him, he told me, he said, do you realize that these 2, the blocks, the profit is $100 billion. Just the profit of 2 blocks. This is just, I didn't know that. And we have coal reserves. We should never have shortage of electricity. Our own coal reserves. We have the most fertile land. When I went to China, they told, I mean, I looked at the productivity of China. It's 3-4 times of Pakistan. We have 6th number of cow and buffaloes in our country. We are number 6. Our per cow liter of milk is 6 liters. In China it's 24 liters, 20 liters. Denmark is 30 liters. So what we have done is that we neglected research in Pakistan. We neglected the basics. Not spending money on our human resources, not spending money on education, not worrying about the education of the masses. It was only for a tiny elite. Which country does it that only 800,000 children go to English medium schools, 3.3 million children in Urdu medium schools, 2.5 million children in Dini madrasas? No one paid any attention to it. So now my vision of Pakistan, we need to return to make it into a welfare state, inclusive development. Our whole idea is now that after the 60s, there's the second government which is going to spend money on industrialization. We are giving incentives, encouragement. We want to promote industrialization because that will create wealth, and from that wealth creation, we want to spend money on the bottom tier of our society. So we have already, despite limited resources, we have the most ambitious poverty alleviation plan called ESAS. I mean, we have allocated in very difficult times 190 billion rupees, the highest amount ever for poverty alleviation. My belief is that if we can concentrate on the bottom section of our society, the government facilitates investors, industrialists, makes it easy for them to do business. In our first year, we have gained 28 places in ease of doing business. Improve our governance system. I honestly believe that we will release the potential of our people. We have let me tell you where the challenges are. The number one challenge is, and by the way, I was reading a blog of Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad. Now remember, he is probably the greatest statesman of the Muslim world. His achievement in transforming Malaysia, everyone knows about it. Now, and 20 years he was in power. And when I read his blog, he might as well have been talking about Pakistan. He said the problem they're facing is from an entrenched, corrupt status quo, which has been removed after 50 years, one-party system. Same us. We are up against a corrupt status quo which ruled Pakistan for 30 years. And they are entrenched, and they have linkages, people who benefited from a corrupt system. So our biggest challenge is facing these people, spreading gloom and doom every day. Every day some sort of scandal comes up which is blown up. all orchestrated. Basically, they do not want the government to succeed, because us succeeding means not just them out of power, but they will end up in jails, which some of them already are. Malaysia faces exactly the same thing. Secondly, we face deteriorating, degenerated institutions. What corruption does, number one thing, what the corrupt do is they destroy state institutions, because that's the only way they can make money. If I want to make money, I have to hamstring all institutions that dispense justice. So that's a big problem. You can destroy state institutions very quickly, but to restore them takes time. So we are in the process. It's a slow process, but gradually, we institution by institution, we are restoring them. The other problem we face are these huge debts accumulated by the previous government. Our first year, the total amount of tax we collected, which was 4 trillion, 2 trillion went to debt servicing. How do you fund health, education, everything when you just are left with a small amount of tax collection? This year we have to, our debt servicing is 3 trillion. The other problem we face is actually the biggest challenge is the energy sector.
वज़ीर आज़म इमरान खान डेवोस स्विट्जरलैंड में नाश्ते पर पाकिस्तानी कम्युनिटी से मुलाकात के दौरान खिताब कर रहे थे।